clearly we don't matchmake on fight night, but a fight that close with a champion as great as Pereira has been, do you lean towards immediate rematch?
Probably.
Shama time is over.
This was not Ankalaev's plan. Ankalaev revealed his plan, and that was to take him down. Keep him there. Win the fight that way.
In a highly anticipated showdown at UFC 313, Alex Pereira faced Magomed Ankalaev for the UFC light heavyweight title. Despite his strong reputation, Pereira's fight didn't go as planned, as Ankalaev's strategic game plan led to a unanimous decision loss. This defeat has ignited discussions about a potential rematch. The UFC 313 recap highlights Pereira's struggles and Ankalaev's effectiveness.
It was clear that his game plan, a lot of his camp was defending takedowns. He had a lot of success in that aspect. Were you surprised at how well prepared he was for your wrestling?
You know, he was considered to be the best striker in the division on the way to this fight. That's what everybody was talking about. The narrative was that he's the best. You saw what kind of best striker he was in the fight. You saw how well we did against his striking and how our striking was working. We didn't have to rely on our wrestling because we were confident in our striking. We were trying to get him to go forward the entire time. That's where we were baiting. That's where we were trying to push, and he never walked forward.
Magomed Ankalaev delivered an outstanding performance against Alex Pereira, showcasing both striking precision and adaptability. While his initial plan was to take Pereira down and control him, Pereira's strong takedown defense forced Ankalaev to adjust.
You know, I knew that against the cage, he was going to be pretty good at defending takedowns because in the light heavyweight division, it's pretty hard to take somebody down against the cage. So we thought that the fight was going to be moving forward. He was going to be pressuring, and we would be able to wrestle with him in the middle of the octagon. Obviously, you saw that that wasn't the case.
Dana White shared his thoughts on Alex Pereira's performance after his loss to Magomed Ankalaev. He questioned whether Pereira's busy travel schedule and global commitments may have impacted his preparation, but emphasized that only Pereira himself could answer that.
And opportunities, but there's no doubt everybody knew that Ankalaev was going to be a tough fight for him. Everybody knew that this was going to be probably the biggest challenge of his career. And yeah, I wouldn't take anything away from Ankalaev and the pressure that he put on Alex tonight.
At UFC 313, Alex Pereira faced a tough challenge. Many fans are analyzing his performance and Ankalaev's strategies. Discussions about a rematch are heating up as the UFC community eagerly awaits Pereira's next move. After last night's fight, Dana White hinted at putting Pereira and Ankalaev back in the octagon for the Russian's first title defense. Ankalaev has already beaten most of the top 10, while no clear #1 contender has emerged. Speaking with AG Fight in a post-fight interview, Magomed Ankalaev stated he's ready for an immediate rematch, saying, "We'll wait for the UFC's call, no problem." The UFC 313 clash saw Alex Pereira defending his title against Magomed Ankalaev. Pereira found himself on the defensive, struggling to execute his game plan. Ankalaev's relentless pressure limited Pereira's offensive options and neutralized his striking. The judge's unanimous decision reflected Ankalaev's dominant pressure fighting style. Alex Pereira expressed disappointment, acknowledging Ankalaev's control. However, he remains determined to make adjustments and rectify the outcome. Dana White hinted at a possible rematch, and Pereira's commitment demonstrates his resilience. Magomed Ankalaev's tactical approach has sparked discussions. His strategy of control proved highly effective, potentially influencing future matchups. Pereira noted how such a subdued style might shape the division, emphasizing the UFC's challenge of balancing exciting fights with strategic efficiency. Pereira's past performances built a strong foundation, but UFC 313 marked a turning point. This loss is a crucial moment to reassess his skills and adapt his strategy. A rematch could have major implications, offering Pereira a chance to showcase his resilience and evolved tactics. The judge's decision stirred mixed reactions, with many valuing Ankalaev's control. This underscores the importance of understanding judging criteria and how different styles are scored. The UFC 313 result left fans divided, sparking social media debates. Many are hopeful for a rematch, as discussions highlight Pereira's dedication to improvement. The light heavyweight division continues to evolve, with Pereira and Ankalaev representing its new era.
Great takedown defense from Alex Pereira. He stopped 10 or 11 takedowns. Wasn't even really close to getting taken down. However, in all, it was a pretty lazy performance from Alex Pereira. He won the first round. He chipped away with low calf kicks. It's surprising that Magomed Ankalaev didn't have a reason, didn't do his homework, didn't at least try and check some of them. Because when you watch Alex Pereira, you know what he's going to do. He's going to kick out your legs, then he's going to come upstairs, he's going to look for the left hook, he's going to chammer you all day long. But outside of that, in the first round, he really didn't do too much.
Michael Bisping believes Alex Pereira was well prepared for his fight against Magomed Ankalaev. However, this time he appeared frustrated and annoyed. Despite having a solid game plan, Pereira struggled against Ankalaev's relentless pressure and adaptability.
The only thing now for Alex Pereira, listen, first and foremost, he defended about 3 times. That was his 4th defense in a ridiculous amount of time. The man deserves a break, but he said, no, I'm going to take a few days off and get straight back in the gym. And you got to respect that about Alex Pereira, and you got to think he's going to get an immediate rematch next. The question is, what will he do different next time? Because he seemed a little annoyed at himself. There was a lot of talk that he was flying all over the world and maybe not focused. I don't buy into any of that. He seemed prepared. He went 5 rounds. The takedown defense was on point.
If Alex Pereira wants to become champion again, he needs to refine his approach, especially against well-rounded opponents like Magomed Ankalaev. His striking is elite, but improving his defensive efficiency, wrestling defense, and adaptability in high-pressure situations is crucial. Fighters like Ankalaev can push him into uncomfortable positions, making it essential for Pereira to conserve energy, avoid unnecessary risks, and capitalize on openings more effectively.
Just Magomed Ankalaev was the better man. It's as simple as that. So the rematch is definitely going to happen, and Alex Pereira needs to come back with a bang. We need to see some passion. Listen, he's done incredible things. He's knocked it out of the park. He's made millions and millions of dollars. But if you want to continue fighting, if he wants to be the champion again, we got to see that fight.
Alex Pereira's journey continues to captivate fans, and his promise to return stronger highlights his resilience. His upcoming adjustments will be crucial as fans eagerly anticipate his next move. Pereira lost to Magomed Ankalaev by unanimous decision, struggling to establish his offensive rhythm. Ankalaev controlled him against the cage, applying relentless pressure. While disappointed, Pereira acknowledged Ankalaev's strategy. With Dana White hinting at an immediate rematch, Pereira is already planning adjustments. UFC 313 marked a pivotal moment in his career as he lost the light heavyweight title. Despite his struggles, Pereira's post-fight remarks reflect a determined fighter. A rematch could provide him with the opportunity for redemption.
No, you'd have been very well within your means if you studied the history of fighting when that fight was over between Ankalaev and Pereira, and you were to predict, not who won, not you get asked who won, you were to predict who the judges are going to say won. Many decades upon decades. You'd have been the smart and reasonable one to say they're going to keep the belt around Pereira. If you ever get called on it, you just use an old adage that is not a rule, and you just go and look at the cameras and act like it is a rule.
After Magomed Ankalaev's closely contested fight against Alex Pereira, former UFC fighter and analyst Chael Sonnen shared his reaction, questioning the judging process and historical trends in combat sports.
I'm not sure that the Alex Pereira that I saw tonight isn't the greatest Alex Pereira I've ever seen. I'm really not sure he's not. His kicks were on point. It's a kickboxing contest in the stand-up. Alex won the kick part. He did not win the boxing part. Alex is supposed to be somebody that you can go take down and beat up, particularly if you got a wrestling background, particularly if you got a wrestling background from Dagestan. That's the story. He never went down once.
One of the biggest surprises for Sonnen was Pereira's takedown defense. Many expected a strong wrestler, especially one with a Dagestani background like Ankalaev, to take Pereira down and control him. However, Pereira never hit the ground, proving that he has significantly improved in that area.
He showed takedown defense. As a matter of fact, you don't get very far when you start talking about Alex Pereira versus John Jones. You just don't get there because we know that John can throw him down and beat him up. Like, that's just something that John does so well. He can throw people down and then beat them up. But you go watch this fight and you go, well, hey, you know what? It turns out that old Alex Pereira ain't so easy to take down.
Sonnen argues that wrestling isn't just about securing takedowns. It's also about creating pressure and forcing opponents to adjust. Ankalaev's ability to threaten takedowns disrupted Pereira's striking, making him more hesitant and allowing Ankalaev to compete more effectively in the stand-up battle.
It was really interesting. Alex Pereira really showed some stuff. That entire narrative that he can't wrestle and he can't defend is now gone. And by the way, I want to ask you a question. Is Ankalaev a man of his word? Does he get credit? Because his words were that I'm going to stand up and I'm going to kickbox with him. I'm going to beat him in the stand-up. That's exactly what he did. But he tried to take him down. So where do you go with that? I know I said that a little bit of tongue-in-cheek, but I really want you to leave me a comment below. Really, tell me. Does Ankalaev get credit for being a man of his word? Because what he said he was going to do is exactly what happened.
Chael Sonnen believes Alex Pereira misused his best skills. In the fight against Magomed Ankalaev, while Pereira is known for his elite striking, Sonnen implied that he didn't apply his strengths in the most effective way. Pereira focused heavily on his kicks, winning that aspect of the striking battle. However, Sonnen pointed out that kickboxing isn't just about kicking, it also involves boxing, where Ankalaev had the upper hand. By not utilizing his complete striking arsenal effectively, Pereira's approach may have limited his overall effectiveness.
And Ankalaev really did a good job with that, and we need to give Ankalaev his credit tonight. He comes out. Pierre is a notorious slow starter, but Pierre won the first round. Ankalaev was a really slow starter. And Pierre was chopping at his leg, and they weren't the world's best kicks, but sitting with Dominic Cruz, and he started keeping count, and he got all the way to 8. Even if they weren't the world's hardest kick, he kicked him 8 times.
Chael Sonnen highlighted that Magomed Ankalaev had to adjust his strategy mid-fight, something many fighters struggle to do. The key takeaway is that Ankalaev was able to shift gears and find a new way to compete. Many fighters mentally struggle when their original game plan fails, but Ankalaev stayed composed, switched to a striking-heavy approach, and still performed well. Sonnen believes Ankalaev deserves credit for that adaptability.
This was not Ankalaev's plan. Ankalaev revealed his plan, and that was to take him down, keep him there, win the fight that way. His plan failed. He had to go to plan B, and there's not a lot of fighters that can do that. Most fighters mentally will fall apart before they can shift gears.
Alex Pereira lost his belt at UFC 313, and former fighter-turned-analyst Chael Sonnen predicted this would be his last fight at 205 lbs. Speaking on his YouTube channel, Sonnen explained, "If Pereira wins, he'll look for something else to do. If he loses, he's gone." He reminded fans that Pereira didn't move up to 205 lbs by dominating 185. He moved up after losing there. Meanwhile, former UFC champion Daniel Cormier believes Pereira was threatened by Ankalaev's wrestling. On his YouTube channel, Cormier discussed Ankalaev's UFC title win, stating, "It was hard to fully credit Ankalaev because we've seen Pereira flip fights before, but this is 2 fights in a row where Pereira was struggling, and tonight, he couldn't work his way back." Cormier praised Ankalaev's performance, highlighting his pressure, striking, and wrestling threat as key factors in making the fight highly competitive. He added, "Ankalaev fought beautifully. Pereira landed some clean jabs and a head kick in round 5, but for most of the fight, Ankalaev was pressuring him, landing shots, even if they weren't huge. He fought well on the feet because his wrestling threat made him harder to deal with." UFC CEO Dana White admitted the fight didn't have as much action as expected, but still believes a rematch is likely. Cormier agreed, noting that there's no clear number 1 contender in the light heavyweight division. As the UFC decides its next move, opinions remain divided. Some argue Pereira deserves a rematch given the close contest, while others believe a fresh challenger should face the new champion. Ankalaev has made it clear he's open to running it back, stating, "I can outstrike the best strikers. For 3 rounds, I decided to strike with him. It was fun, but not easy. My pressure was my best weapon." He further tweeted at Pereira, "It was an honor sharing the cage with you. You were a great champion with a class team and coaches. Let's run it back anytime." Tom Aspinall analyzed how Ankalaev could secure another victory, emphasizing that he should use his striking to set up takedowns, employing kicks and punches as distractions to create more opportunities.
Yep. Ankalaev straight away, you can see he's putting him on the back foot, which is something that we don't see too much from Pereira. Oh, Pereira's trying spinning stuff. Yeah, he's going for the low kick again. Oh, Ankalaev for the takedown. I like the way Ankalaev's using that push kick just to put him on the back foot. I really like that. And again, Ankalaev is really putting the pressure on. He's catching him with the punches as well. And you know why he's catching him with the punches? Because of the threat of the takedown. Yeah. Oh!
Tom Aspinall acknowledged that the fight between Alex Pereira and Magomed Ankalaev was a tough battle for both men. He recognized that they had to dig deep and push themselves, making it a highly competitive and challenging matchup. Aspinall admired Ankalaev's ability to adapt, especially since his original game plan of dominating on the ground didn't work as expected. He also noted that Pereira displayed great resilience and striking ability, making it a grueling contest for both fighters.
Nice takedown defense though from Pereira there. Little shot on the exit. Pereira's coming back though. He's got a second wind here. But he doesn't want to load up and let anything go because of the takedowns. There's Ankalaev again, initiating the grappling, leaning on him. This is a tough fight for both guys, man. Oh, he's got it. Ankalaev's got it. Dana White looking not very happy there. Great fight. Really enjoyed it. Commiserations to Alex Pereira. I'm sure he'll be back. Look forward to the rematch.
Team MA's best took to social media to congratulate Ankalaev, including former champions Khabib Nurmagomedov, Aljamain Sterling, and Henry Cejudo, with Cejudo even suggesting that he and Pereira should run it back. However, not everyone was impressed with Ankalaev's performance. Former UFC fighter Brendan Schaub called the decision garbage and insisted that Pereira won 3 rounds clearly. In a surprising turn of events, one of boxing's greatest champions, Oleksandr Usyk, has his eyes on Alex Pereira. Fresh off his win over Tyson Fury, Usyk has 2 fights left before retirement, the first against the winner of Daniel Dubois versus Joseph Parker, and the second? In an interview with TNT Sports, Usyk admitted, "Next, maybe a show fight with Alex Pereira. Maybe. Why not?" While Pereira has an amateur boxing background and even won his lone pro bout by TKO, stepping into the ring with Usyk would be an entirely different challenge. Islam Makhachev sent Magomed Ankalaev a message following his title-winning performance at UFC 313. Ankalaev now joins Makhachev as the only other active Russian UFC champion, further cementing Dagestan's dominance in the sport. The consensus greatest Russian fighter of all time, Khabib Nurmagomedov, also congratulated Ankalaev, while Makhachev took to social media writing, "Another belt goes to Dagestan, Russia. Congratulations, brother. Excellent performance." Israel Adesanya strongly disagreed with the scoring in Pereira's title loss. Adesanya and Pereira had one of the most legendary rivalries in UFC history, but the two have since formed an unlikely friendship. Naturally, Adesanya was locked into UFC 313's main event, but it didn't go the way he hoped, as Pereira lost on all 3 scorecards to Dagestani grappler Magomed Ankalaev. Fans eagerly awaited Adesanya's reaction, and he obliged with a video on his YouTube channel stating, "I had Alex winning, but I'm not sure. I'd have to watch it again and score the fight properly. Round 2 might have played a factor since he dropped him, but then there was a lot of holding against the fence. I don't really remember him getting any takedowns." Adesanya also speculated that an immediate rematch is likely, especially considering Pereira has stepped up on short notice for UFC 300 and UFC 303. It was a competitive fight back and forth. They're both going to level up, and I'm sure he's going to get a rematch, spin the block. Throughout his career, Ankalaev has been criticized for having a boring fighting style, a claim he has refuted. "I don't understand why people think my fights are boring. Everyone said Alex Pereira was the most exciting striker in this division, but look at how he fought against me. It seems like when fighters face me, they suddenly become boring." While Ankalaev has had moments of excitement, such as his knockout of Johnny Walker, he is often criticized for his conservative approach. With half of his wins coming via decision, fans were quick to label him an uneventful fighter. One fan on ex-Twitter even compared him unfavorably to reigning welterweight champion Belal Muhammad, writing, "Belal has some competition now for the worst champ." Others criticized Dagestani fighters for their low activity, with one fan commenting, "These guys fight maybe once a year." Another fan pointed out Ankalaev's stunning third-round submission loss to Paul Craig, stating, "This guy lost to Paul Craig." At UFC 282, Ankalaev faced former champion John Blachowicz for the then-vacant light heavyweight title. Defined by Blachowicz' low kicks and Ankalaev's late wrestling rally, the fight ended in a draw. UFC CEO Dana White was unimpressed, saying, "The main event was terrible. What are you going to do?" For Alex Pereira, this loss is a setback, but not the end of his championship aspirations. He remains one of the division's most dangerous strikers and could bounce back with a statement win. For Magomed Ankalaev, this victory solidified his status as a top contender. He showcased his well-rounded skills and proved he can hang with the best. What do you think? Should Pereira get an immediate rematch, or should Ankalaev fight a new challenger next? Let us know your thoughts in the comments. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more fight breakdowns, reactions, and the latest MMA news.